What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I am strapped for time and I needed to get this video shot. I did not dress up like this just to shoot the video. I'm gonna go for a ride right after this. But I have had the opportunity and the privilege to participate in some of the biggest, most popular gravel cycling events in the United States. I thought it would be kind of fun to take a deeper look at some of these bigger events and assign them a grade. And the way I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna look at the value of the event, I'm gonna look at the terrain of the event, I'm gonna look at the overall atmosphere of the event, and I'm gonna assign a grade to each of those categories, and then at the end, I'm gonna assign a final grade to that event. The first event we're gonna look at is Midsouth Gravel. Midsouth, formerly known as Land Run 100, this event takes place mid-March on the rural red dirt roads surrounding Stillwater, Oklahoma. The roads range from smooth, hard-packed dirt to rutted out, gnarly mud. I've participated in this event twice. The first time, the roads were bone dry and fast. The second time, not so much. One of the beautiful things about this event is that it has not sold out. Yes, it has become very popular, but it still holds true to that grassroots feel. From what I recall, the entry fee is around $100. As for value, this event gets an A. The terrain surrounding Stillwater is much like that of the plains of Kansas, with gently rolling hills, prairies, and creeks, but the surface is red dirt. For the terrain, it gets a B-. The atmosphere at this event is pretty electric. They basically shut down the downtown area the day before, and Bobby Wintle, who started this event, rocks out with the band the day before the race. It's pretty damn fun. The event also has a really good expo and finish line party. The overall atmosphere of this event, I'm going to give an A+. It's a great freaking time. And then I think overall, this event is gonna get a grade of an A. It's a good one. The next race we're gonna look at, and that is the biggest gravel event in the world, and that is Unbound Gravel. When I did my first Unbound 200 in 2019, the event was actually called Dirty Kansas. This event takes place in Emporia, Kansas every year at the end of May or beginning of June. This has become the Super Bowl of gravel racing and undeniably the biggest gravel race in the world. For me, completing my first Unbound 200 was a very special accomplishment, almost like a rite of passage, if you will. But if I'm being honest, this event doesn't really pack a ton of value. At around $300 just for the entry fee, it is expensive. There is no on-course sag provided, and you are required to supply your own sag support for the event. The year I did it, we got a nice t-shirt and a pair of socks with a swag bag though. For value, I'm giving this event a C-. The terrain surrounding Emporia is anything but flat. When I did my first 200, there was over 11,000 feet of elevation over the course of the race, but the rolling flint hills and tall grass prairies are absolutely beautiful. For the terrain, this event gets an A-. This is the biggest, most popular gravel race in the world, so the atmosphere in Emporia is popping. The expo the day before is fantastic, and they shut down the whole main street for the finish line on race day. It's fun. For atmosphere, I gotta give it an A+. So the overall score for Unbound Gravel, and some people may get a little bit pissy with this, I think I'm going to have to give it a B, and that is simply because the value for me is just not there. If you're an avid cyclist, an avid gravel cyclist, do at least one 200, get it completed. But after I did one, I was kind of like, I don't really care if I ever do that again, but I definitely want to be in Emporia for the party because the party is amazing. The expo is amazing. There's like pros there. So I've gotten to the point where a lot of times I'll just go to the event and do a ride on my own and then party. The next event is Steamboat Gravel. Steamboat Gravel takes place in late June in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. When I did the race, it actually took place in August. Prior to this event, I had been to Colorado to mountain bike, but had never ridden there on a gravel bike. This event was not cheap, but also not as expensive as some other races. If I remember correctly, it was between $200 and $250 for the long route. And for me, Steamboat is about a 10-hour drive, so gas and lodging were also an expense. It was not a cheap trip, but it was worth every penny. You get a great swag bag and a hat when you cross the finish line, which I thought was a nice touch. There were a ton of on-course aid stations that were stocked with what seemed like endless amounts of free nutrition. Gels, drink mixes, bars, you name it. So while the entry fee is a bit high, it was a pretty good value, so I give that an A- in that category. As for the roads surrounding Steamboat Springs, Colorado, they are insane. They call this champagne gravel for how smooth it is. You are surrounded by the Rocky Mountains. Parts of the course you get those big mountain views, while other parts you are bombing through the forest. It's magical. A+ for terrain. The expo of the event is solid and the finish line is pretty good. When I did the event, I did the 140-mile route, and by the time I finished, the finish line party had pretty well died down, but the overall atmosphere, I would give it a B. Steamboat Gravel, absolutely amazing event in every single way, so for an overall grade, we're gonna give that race an A. The next race on the list is the Belgian Waffle Ride. The Belgian Waffle Ride is a race series that started in San Diego in 2011. The organization has now spread to host other events in places like Arizona, Utah, Montana, and even Mexico. A few years ago, they hosted in Lawrence, Kansas, which I attended. It was fine, but to me it seemed a bit commercialized and almost like the event was just trying to capitalize on the Belgian Waffle Ride name. I'm sure the actual event in San Diego is a special experience, but the one in Lawrence seemed to lack the heart and soul you feel at other events. If I remember correctly, the event cost over $300. You did get a decent little swag bag with a t-shirt, and they were serving up free hot waffles before the race, but to me, the value wasn't there. For value, I give this one a C-. Lawrence is located in eastern Kansas, rolling hills and prairies. They did throw in some single track and a cyclocross type course during the race, which was super fun and kept things interesting. For terrain, I'm gonna give this one a B instead of a B- because I like the single track. So this event was fun. The cyclocross portion was fun, the single track was fun, but the gravel roads, I basically ride on gravel roads like this all the time, so they were nothing special. I think if this was like actual San Diego BWR, which I would absolutely pay $300 to do, it would have been a little bit more special or a lot more special. So overall for this event, I gotta give it a C+. The next race is Gravel Worlds. Gravel Worlds takes place in Lincoln, Nebraska at the end of August. Similar to Kansas, when you think of Nebraska, you might think that it is flat, but that is not the case. The landscape is basically plains with gently rolling hills, but don't be fooled, that elevation adds up quickly. From what I remember, the gravel was really sandy. This felt like a big time event without the big price tag. I believe the entry was around $125. Not bad considering it comes with a good swag bag and stocked aid stations. For value, this one gets an A. Nebraska is a lot like Kansas, rolling hills on the prairie. It's beautiful in its own way. For terrain, it gets a B-. The atmosphere at this event is very good. The year I did it, there was a big party in what looked like a new part of town. There were a few bars in the area and a big finish line party. Similar to Midsouth, you get the feel that the people who put this thing on are passionate about it. It's like a grassroots feel at a big time event, if you will. Overall, the atmosphere at this event gets an A. Gravel Worlds, fun event in Lincoln, Nebraska that is hosted by people that are just passionate about bikes and riding bikes. It's a good event. Overall, I'm gonna give it an A. Last but not least on the list is the Rule of 3 in Bentonville, Arkansas. But spoiler alert here, Rule of 3 is the greatest bike race in the entire world. And I think Rule of 3 is considered a gravel race, but technically it's a tarmac, gravel, and mountain bike race all wrapped into one. The event takes place mid-May in Bentonville, Arkansas. The race costs around $100, which is an insane value for what you get. The swag bag is second to none, the course has fully stocked aid stations, and they give you a bag when you cross the finish line with snacks, including a beer, burrito, and some other stuff. This event doesn't pay out cash money to the podium finishers, so they're able to take the entry fees and max out the value for you, the individual. The value of this event is an A+. The terrain of this event has a bit of everything. At one point, you may be riding along a gravel road next to an open field of farmland, and the next you are turning onto the back 40 trail to bomb down some single track. I really appreciate the amount of shade during the race too. Obviously, the single track sections in the woods are shaded, but even when you aren't on the single track, many of the gravel and paved roads are shade covered, almost like you are riding through a canopy of trees. It's awesome. Terrain is an A. Everything about this event is a vibe. It truly is special, and I think you have to experience it yourself to really appreciate it. The Shakeout Ride Expo the day before is incredible. The route is incredible. The post-ride finish line party is incredible. The overall atmosphere is an A+. Rule of 3, Bentonville, Arkansas. The most fun I've ever had riding my bike. I've done it 4 times. This event gets an A+. Again, guys, this video was just for fun. All of these races were a blast. These were all my opinions. But yeah, I've never had a bad time at any cycling event. If you guys have done any of these races, let me know in the comments what you thought below. Appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed for some reason, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, keep crushing it.